These are the images coming in from Surfside. This is just north of Miami Beach. Dozens of rescue teams responding to this building, this apartment building, condo complex with 100 units that partially collapsed. We do not know how many people were inside or might be trapped in that rubble. We believe there are about 100 units in the building. The collapse happened at 2 a.m., so you can understand the concern. At least one person is dead, 10 others injured, and there have been people on the ground there working through the rubble looking for survivors. So we want to bring in Nicholas Balboa, an eyewitness who helped rescue a 12-year-old boy from the rubble. Nicholas, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for your efforts on the ground there. Can you just tell us the scene? Describe what you have seen and been doing.
It was just horrific. The first thoughts that came to mind were the images of 9/11. Just the building being destroyed. Debris everywhere, just a complete and total mess. I was thinking to myself, just, how could anybody survive this? And as I was thinking that, I heard a voice yelling, and I decided that, I'm going to try and get closer and see maybe if I can see where he's at. Finally I got close enough to hear him, and he said, "Can you see my hand?" And he was sticking his hand up, the little 10-year-old, he was sticking his hand up through the debris, and I could see his hand and his fingers wiggling. We made an effort to try and get to him.
And tell us about that. Tell us about getting to him.
So I had gone to the front side of the building. I had heard the crash. I felt the ground shake. It felt like an earthquake. So I walked around to the front of the building. Fire crews were getting there. They were pushing everybody back. I wanted to try and get a better view of what had happened. So I went around one of the apartment buildings, to the north of that building. Went around the back, walked along the beach, and I was able to get, literally right there, pretty much on the property. And close enough to hear the little boy screaming. We began to climb the rubble, myself and one other individual, because we heard him. There weren't any firefighters or police officers nearby. And we felt like we needed to do something. So we took it upon ourselves to try and get there and locate him. Once we were able to locate him, I took my phone and began to flash my light, to try and signal somebody to come over. And we got a police officer to come over. He was able to get a light in on the situation, and signal fire to come over as well. So then they began their efforts to get him out. It was him and his mother. We could hear him. We could see him clearly. His mom, we weren't able to see. We weren't able to hear her. So I don't know what her status is. But God willing that she's okay.
You felt the ground shake. You heard it. It seemed like there was an earthquake. You pulled a child from the rubble. When you were there, we're looking at images of this building now. We understand it was a condo with about 100 units inside. It happened, overnight. And the concern, obviously, is how many people could have been inside. And so as you were there rescuing that child, any sense of any other people that might be trapped?
To be completely honest, especially what the little boy he was under his bed. The bed was on top of him. So his mattress, the frame. So he was obviously sleeping. And so it occurred. This happened at, if I looked at, my first image I took at about 1:40, 1:30. So it occurred, right around 1:30 this morning. And so, I can only imagine how many people were in their apartments, either sleeping or watching TV or just whatever, just living their lives, unbeknownst to them that the building is about to break away.
And Nicholas, where were you when you heard it? And were you asleep?
I was not asleep. I actually happened to be outside. I was walking my dog, and I live about a block up the street. Mm-hmm. So I heard the ground shake. I was South Hardy is another street. It runs in the opposite direction. I was on Hardy, so I ran up to Collins, which is where the building is on. And I saw the plume of smoke, or really just dust and debris kind of, go rolling through the corridor of buildings. So I rushed back upstairs to put my dog in my apartment, and then rushed back downstairs to the scene. And then as I was getting to the scene, fire crews and whatnot were showing up. They were pushing people back. And I don't know, like I said, I wanted to try and get a better view to see exactly what had happened. So I went around to the backside, and it was eerie, like quiet. It was almost like out of a horror movie. And, if I have no idea if it wasn't for us, myself and the other gentleman being on the backside of the building and as quiet as it was, I have no idea how long it would have been till they found him.
Can you just put into context for us, Nicholas, how big of a part of this building came down?
With the pictures that I took, the building, it was at least, it was the entire backside of the building. So I would say the building is probably somewhere in the neighborhood of about in between a half to a football field in length. So it's quite a large building.
Wow.
We can see
and it's 12 stories tall.
a huge chunk of it now, just a pile of rubble.